Imagine this. A fake HOA cop points a gun at my daughter's face just because she said no to him. Let's back up. When my wife passed away from cancer, the world went quiet, the kind of quiet that seeps into your bones. After the funeral, I couldn't stand the city anymore. Too many empty rooms, too many memories. So I packed what I could fit in the truck and headed south to Florida. That's how I ended up in Sunny Palms Estates, a gated community just outside Ocala. The place looked peaceful enough. Neat lawns, white fences, and a sign by the gate that read, "A safe and respectful community managed by Ravenwood HOA. Peace and respect." That's what I was looking for. Before we dive in, comment which country you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. For a while, I found what I needed. Early mornings on the porch with coffee, evenings fixing up the old barn out back. Just me and the sound of wind through the palms. Then my daughter Rachel came home. She'd been away finishing law enforcement training in Tallahassee. I didn't tell the neighbors what she did. She just wanted a break before starting her post. No uniform, no badge, just my kid trying to live normal again. That's when he showed up. His name was Blake Riker, the so-called HOA enforcement officer. He drove around in a white pickup with HOA cops stenciled down the side like he thought it made him someone. Black vest, knockoff badge, mirrored sunglasses, the whole fake authority package. At first, he seemed harmless. Always found a reason to stop by. Just checking on fence compliance or routine property assessment, he'd say, even though no one else ever saw him doing inspections. Then he met Rachel. He caught her unloading groceries one afternoon. I was inside, but I could hear his tone from the kitchen window. Overly friendly, too confident. He laughed too loud, asked too many questions. Later that night, Rachel told me he'd asked her out for drinks. She said no, politely. That's all it took for things to change. 2 days later, I found a bright orange paper taped to my front door. Notice of violation, unapproved vehicle and driveway. Then another about trash container visibility. By the end of the week, I had 4 fake citations, all signed Officer Riker, HOA Enforcement. Rachel rolled her eyes when she saw them. "Dad, he's trying to get under your skin because I said no." I knew she was right. Still, I tried to stay calm. I gathered the papers, the photos, and decided to report it properly to the HOA office. That's where I met Karen Doyle, the vice president. Polished nails, crisp blouse, and that practiced smile you only see on people who lie for a living. "Blake's one of our most dedicated volunteers," she said sweetly. "I'm sure this is just a misunderstanding." "Dedicated?" I said. "He's forging violations and harassing residents. My daughter, specifically." Karen tilted her head, her smile never fading. Maybe she misunderstood his intentions. That line told me everything I needed to know. The HOA didn't just tolerate Blake. They protected him. And the next time he showed up, things were going to go bad. It was Thursday morning, humid, quiet, the kind of stillness Florida gets before a storm rolls in. Rachel was dressed sharp that day, standing on the porch, badge gleaming, about to leave for her first official shift with the Marion County Sheriff's Office. She'd worked hard for that badge. I was proud enough to forget for a moment about Blake Riker and his fake authority, until that familiar white truck rolled up again. Riker's pickup, the one with HOA cop painted down the side in stenciled black letters, stopped right at the edge of my lawn. I felt my chest tighten. He stepped out slow, mirrored glasses hiding those smug eyes, his hand resting on his belt like he thought he was the real deal. Well, he said, eyeing Rachel. "Didn't know the HOA had a costume contest." Rachel gave him a flat stare. "This isn't a costume, Riker. You need to leave." He laughed, a low, arrogant sound. "So now you're trying to intimidate me? What's next? Fake handcuffs? You're lucky I don't write you up for harassment." I stepped off the porch, moving between them. "That's enough," I said. "You're trespassing again. You've been warned already. If you set 1 foot closer, that's criminal harassment under Florida Statute 784.048 and trespass under 810.10.09. You're out of your depth." He sneered. "You think your little homeowner's manual scares me?" Then it happened fast. He shoved me, hard. My feet slipped on the damp grass, and I went down the porch steps backward, my spine slamming into the yard. Pain flared up my back, sharp and breath-stealing. Rachel shouted, "Dad!" And that's when Blake pulled a gun. It wasn't some prop or airsoft either. It was real steel. "You think you can threaten me?" he roared, waving the pistol toward her. "I run this neighborhood, not you." Rachel didn't blink. She moved, fast. 2 strides, a snap of motion, and her knee came up hard, straight into his groin. Riker folded, gasping in shock. Before he could recover, she drove her elbow square into his jaw. Bone met bone with a crack. The gun fell from his hand into the grass. Rachel scooped it up with practiced speed, stepped back, and fired 1 clean round into his leg. Blake hit the ground screaming, clutching his thigh, cursing, crying. Rachel stood over him, weapon trained steady, her voice firm. "You pointed a loaded gun at a law officer," she said. and harassed my dad on his own property. You're done, Blake." She pulled her radio from her shoulder. "This is Deputy Rachel Morgan, badge 327. Officer involved shooting, suspect down, one firearm recovered. Request immediate backup at Sunny Palms Estates off Route 301. Her voice didn't shake once. Within minutes, the sound of sirens rose from the distance. Not random, but because she called them in herself. Deputies rolled through the gate with lights flashing. By the time they reached us, Rachel had Blake cuffed, bleeding but alive. My ring camera caught it all, every second of it. And that footage would expose more than just a fake HOA cop. It would lead straight to the people who'd armed him in the first place. If you're enjoying this HOA story so far, like and subscribe because the story is only going to get better. By the time the paramedics arrived, Riker was pale and crying, a mix of pain, adrenaline, and disbelief. They patched the bullet wound on his leg while deputies secured the area. I sat on the porch steps, back aching, watching it all unfold under the flashing red and blue. Rachel stood by the patrol car, silent, arms crossed, while her partner gathered evidence bags, the fake badge, the vest, the gun. Riker kept trying to talk his way out of cuffs, muttering, "She overreacted. She assaulted me," until one of the deputies snapped, "You pointed a weapon at a law enforcement officer, Riker. You're lucky you're breathing." When they loaded him into the ambulance under police escort, Rachel finally exhaled. She looked at me and said quietly, "It's over, Dad." But she was wrong. The real storm was just starting. Detectives from the county's internal investigations unit took over that afternoon. They went through Rachel's body cam, the ring footage, and every citation Riker had issued in the past 3 months. By evening, the evidence table was covered with fake notices, doctored paperwork, and emails from the Ravenwood HOA Enforcement Division. And that's when the connection appeared. Riker wasn't just some rogue volunteer. He was related to someone inside the HOA. A background check revealed his emergency contact, Karen Doyle, the vice president who had brushed off my complaints. Further digging uncovered what she'd conveniently left out of every meeting. Riker was her stepson. Karen had remarried 2 years ago after her divorce, and Blake's mother was her new husband's ex-wife. It sounded messy enough, but the investigators didn't stop there. When they subpoenaed phone records, everything clicked into place. Text messages between Riker and Karen painted a clear, ugly picture. One message from him read, "Rachel said no, told me she's not interested." Karen's reply hit like a hammer. "No one says no to my stepson. Deal with her. Give her citations, make her pay fines. She'll give in eventually." There it was. The motive, the harassment, and the conspiracy all in writing. That single thread exposed the whole conspiracy. Harassment, intimidation, and weaponized HOA power. When the warrants came down, deputies raided the Ravenwood HOA office before noon. Karen Doyle was escorted out in cuffs, still shouting about misunderstandings and false accusations. But the evidence spoke louder than she ever could. She was charged with conspiracy to commit harassment, accessory to aggravated assault with a firearm, and misuse of official position under Florida HOA law. Each carried heavy penalties, the accessory charge alone up to 15 years in state prison and a $10,000 fine. As for Riker, the book was thrown at him. He was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 15 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Impersonating a law enforcement officer, a third-degree felony, 5 years and a $5,000 fine. Armed trespass on occupied property, 5 years and a $5,000 fine. In total, he was facing up 25 years behind bars and $20,000 in fines, not including restitution and loss of property. That night, the neighborhood was quiet again. Real peace. Not the kind promised by HOA signs, but the kind earned through justice. Rachel sat next to me on the porch, badge gleaming in the porch light. I asked softly, "Think we'll ever hear from them again?" She smirked, "Not for at least 25 years. And I believed her, because here in Florida, when the law knocks back, it hits hard.